It's nice to meet you guys.
Hi.
I
Hello, Anjali. My name is Ananya, and thank you for joining us today. Um, could you please introduce yourself with if you're in school, what grade you're in, and what your organization is?
mhm,
And you can begin your presentation.
yes. My name is Anjali Rayaprolu. I'm in Canada and I'm in grade 9. I'm 14 years old. And I'm also building Thoughtlane, an educational platform, which I do have a presentation about. So let me just share my screen. Hold on. Okay. Whoops. Hold on. Let me find it. Okay. Where is it? Oh my God.
I'm laughing not because I'm mocking you, but I know that feeling.
I think it's here. Wait, what can you guys see? I don't know what you guys can see.
We see Thoughtlane,
The slideshow?
uh, possibly a website.
Wait, can you see the slides changing?
Yes,
Okay, that's good. Okay, so Thoughtlane, it's an EdTech platform that is focused on rethinking how education is learned, taught, and delivered for the future. You guys can see the slide, right? Just want to make sure. Okay, good. So I didn't choose education randomly. I chose it because I'm currently in education, and every day I sit in classrooms where I'm told to like memorize information for tests, only to forget it by the next week. And I see students who are incredibly capable, but also are very disengaged because the educational system isn't really built and tailored for how students actually learn. And so the world is also changing faster than ever, oh wait, yeah, which because first globalization is reversing and the stable interconnected world that shaped education systems after World War II is becoming more fragmented, and AI is also accelerating at a pace that we've never seen before. The Industrial Revolution the Industrial Revolution took like hundreds of years to develop and reshape the industry. However, AI is now changing that industry in like 5 to 10 years, and it's happening at such a high rate. And so, since we can't stop this change, we can prepare students for the future instead by using systems that are designed for the present and not the future. So that's what motivated me to start ThoughtLane. Okay, so education today is misaligned with like the reality and what students face out in the workforce. And so there are 6 core problems, as you can see. Firstly, there's like a one size fits all system where every student learns differently. However, everyone is taught the same way at the same pace. We can see several students in a classroom where some people struggle with some material, but some people excel. And secondly, assessment is broken. We reward memorization under pressure instead of actually understanding the information. And we can see this all the time when students are cramming for tests, but then forget all the information. Third, there's a growing skills gap since schools aren't consistently teaching critical thinking, collaboration, data literacy, or AI, and these are the exact skills that are needed in the workforce now. Fourth, access and equity. Most EdTech tools benefit students who are ahead and know what they're doing. And so it is important that we have other systems that support students who need help. Fifth, teacher support is overlooked. Teachers are often overwhelmed with marking assignments, grading assignments, tests, and all the things that could be automated, yet technology adds a bigger burden to their workload instead of reducing it. And then sixth, engagement. A lot of gamification badges and streaks, they create like short-term motivation, but not really deep learning make to allow the student to continue their education. And so on top of all this, there's something that's even more concerning. There was a recent research at Yale that has shown that when students rely heavily on unfiltered AI, all of their thinking is uniform and all their answers are the same. And so you can see this when a student does an assignment, but all the students submit like a chat GPT written assignment and everything sounds the same. And so students lose their creativity and their thoughts begin to disappear because they don't really put any effort into their work anymore. And so that's also dangerous because the future needs people who think differently and who learn to work in different environments, not just people who, put everything into ChatGPT. So, Thoughtlane is built from ground up to address these six core issues in the future. So, we're not building AI that works for students like your typical AI models and generative AI, but we're building AI that works with them throughout their learning journey. So, our platform focuses on how students think, and not just what answer they get. And so we prioritize Socratic dialogue and adaptive learning. So instead of just giving answers, ThoughtLane asks questions and guides the student to learn in on the right path and adjusts the level in to help them understand the assignment or whatever they're doing. Second, I emphasize process over answers. Oftentimes, teachers grade the work and not just what the student's final answer is. So ThoughtLane helps the students learn about the process of what the answers are, and this builds like reasoning skills. Third, we also ensure accuracy and reliability, especially when learning from predefined materials like school curriculum, so students aren't relying randomly on misleading information. And fourth, we promote diversity of thought. Instead of generating like the same ChatGPT essay or the same answers a million times, we promote like seeing how students get an answer in different ways. And so allowing students to, we encourage multiple perspectives and approaches. Fifth, we support personalized learning. Every student gets like a different learning experience based on their level, pace, strengths, and etc. And so ThoughtLane isn't just like a tool, it's like a shift in a mindset that tailors learning to every student's needs. Since we value thinking over the final answer and understanding over memorization. So now up to the market opportunity. The Canadian EdTech market, since I do live in Canada, is over $2.3 billion. And so it's globally projected to be about $400 billion in the next decade. With over 5 million students in K to 12 in Canada alone, the demand is already here. So the plan is to start with pilot programs. Since I do have an MVP ready, I've been reaching out to institutions, and after that, move into SaaS partnerships, expand nationally and globally. But this platform isn't just built for education. While that is what I started with, I've also expanded into workforce and compliance training as that opens up the market even more to put this product out in the industry. So today, organizations with at least like 50 to 100 employees and even more are required to train employees on things like data protection, workplace safety, ethical standards, and all of that type of stuff. And employees are often examined on these things. However, it requires companies spend a lot of money on the tools and resources to train the employees. So ThoughtLane applies the same Socratic adaptive learning model to transform it into something interactive, personalized, and actually retained. So this also opens a second revenue stream across schools, edtech platforms, and mid to large enterprises. Since in the US alone, there are 150,000 or even more firms. And so this gives us a high scalable market. And at the same time, all of the data that is being stored in this platform are stored locally or within Canada or within the respective country. Next, we got the community impact. So beyond revenue or beyond how much money I make, since I'm a student myself, community impact is one of the biggest things I like to focus on. And so as a student, I've known how hard it is to find internships, fellowships, um, industry exposure, and things like that. So instead of it just being a learning platform to help students learn, it also provides students with opportunities in the real world. So when we do implement this within school boards, schools, or whatever, I get students within that school to manage communications about this platform between the school board and my team. And so preparing students for the future is key because it isn't just about what they learn, it's about what they experience. So my goal is to build a system where students don't just graduate with the knowledge, but they graduate with the confidence, skills, and real world readiness. And so finally, I've already started conversations with educational institutions, school boards, private schools, and I've been talking to angel investors and have been invited to pitch conferences. So I'm looking for like advisors, mentorship, guidance, or anything to bring Thoughtlane into classrooms or businesses because the future of education is about leading the change. So that is all for today, and thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful ideas. It's really impressive how you're doing this at a really young age, and also how that you're not saying that AI should just be gone, but it can also like help students not just use it and be like, oh, I'm not really learning anything from this, but use it in their own ways and let it be with them, but still have their creative input in it. I have one question though. When was this like idea, like thought lane created? Like when did you think like the main moment of like, oh, this should be the like this should start. Should make a change.
Yeah, so I've been at Spirit of Math. It's like a after school kind of program for like advanced math and things like that. And so, being in that program for 6 years now, I've noticed a lot of their solutions, their word problem solutions, are often just like the final answer or the last step before the answer. And me and all my friends, we never really understood how they got the answer. And on top of that, learning in classrooms, I've noticed that every student is at a different pace and no one really seems to progress like efficiently with their learning. And so last summer is when I really thought of it. And then till now, I've been just building, getting more ideas. And I've been through like several like phases because originally my product was just a place where you could upload any PDF. You get step-by-step solutions, and that was pretty much it. Over the months, going through like different experiences, I've changed it and adapted it to what it is today. And I also do have a website. It's called thoughtlane.com. You can search it up and then there's more information on it there.
My turn. Okay. First of all, Ananya have been and I have been talking about you behind your back, and we're sorry about that. But we were both so impressed with how polished your presentation was. Well, like, can you believe she's 14? But I have a couple questions. Um, the first one is, when you came up with this idea, where did you start thinking about how AI was impacting education? Had you read that somewhere, or was this just something that was frustrating you personally? Did you see it as
Okay,
a trend, or was it frustrating you?
yeah, so that's a great question. AI does play a big role in education now, because we see students everywhere around us literally putting their assignments into ChatGPT and turning it in. And it's become so advanced now that teachers can't even like suspect it. Like it's just crazy. And on top of that, there is this thing in Ontario called the EQAO. It's like a standardized test. And so last year in grade 9, only 50, it was like 56% of students or something like that passed. And that just shows how many students aren't actually learning the information because it was just for grade 9 math and only about half of the students passed the test. So that was really concerning, especially knowing that there are high achievers and also people who literally don't understand material. So that is what kind of motivated me to build a platform that suited students facing who have different strengths and who are facing different challenges.
Question number two. How are you differentiating between learning skills and human skills? Because one of the things that I heard in your presentation that intrigued me was that the system would allow kids to go in and use it based on their skills or talents. And a lot of time, they don't have the human skill to reflect on what is my talent? What am I really good at? Because a lot of time they don't know what's coming in education. They don't know what they're going to learn next. I'm curious how you're going to build around developing character and empathy, and curiosity using this system, because those have to be built in tandem, or your system is just going to become ChatGPT 2.0.
Yeah, yeah. So the Socratic dialogue one, basically, essentially the teacher would develop like a standard plan already, and then as the student answers the questions, it tailors the level and responses to like the level of the student's questions, and then we also provide feedback, what the student did well and what the student's next steps are, so they can use that in their next response to further develop their answer. I'm not sure
Great
if
answer.
that's the right answer you were looking for, but yeah.
It is the answer I wanted to hear. I wanted the world to hear you say that. The Socratic method is 3,000 years old, and it's fabulous that you're using it in such a creative way.
Yeah, because a lot of things now are just multiple choice questions or even short answer, but the teachers have to go into the short answer and look at it. And then also it can be very subjective and there's not really a structured response. And teachers don't really have the time to write a three-step answer or solution to every single student's question. So I found this method and I realized that with AI now, we can integrate it into EdTech platforms to improve learning.
May I ask one more probing question?
Yeah,
Because you
yeah.
really got my imagination going. You had a slide, a detail on your slide. Data will be collected locally or in
Mhm,
Canada. What
mhm.
does that mean?
Okay, yeah. So basically, when we deployed this program, this software, we would obviously use AI models. And so there are different methods of deployment. There's a multi-tenant SaaS, single-tenant SaaS, or in-house deployment. And so essentially, depending on your model of deployment, you can either deploy it within your own server, within like your own school. So you use your own models, and I'm only providing the service or the product, and you're actually like, running the whole thing. So your data is just within you. There's the multi-tenant SaaS would be it's on a server with a bunch of different organizations. However, the information is just like all locally to you. No one really has access to it. And basically, if you were to use local AI models, uh, that you wouldn't interact with third-party sites like OpenAI, Gemini, so on. It would just be like completely your own model. So it depends on what you want to do, but all the information would be stored locally.
You see, it's very intriguing. Uh, I've just never seen AI and education reverse engineered like this.
Yeah.
What do you want to have next? I mean, I hear you're looking for investors and mentors and internships, but what would be the best case scenario?
Yeah, so since I am going to a few conferences within the next like month or two, and I'm going to be pitching this in front of a lot of educators, I do hope that we can get some interest to pilot it with to get feedback and traction, and hopefully some investment because I do know that Google and Microsoft, they do have this thing where they give you around like $100,000 to $350,000 um, to host the platform using their servers. And so I would be eligible for the program after like some funding. So with that, I can obviously offer schools free trials to try this platform out with the money and with the service that they provide. And hopefully I can make this like the next D2L.
Thank you. I have one last question.
Yes.
Where did you get the name Thoughtlane from?
Thoughtlane. So actually, my dad had a domain called Thoughtlane earlier. Like he bought it like 10 years ago, and we realized that he still had it. We didn't even know that, so we just chose that name. But it does align with kind of like the idea of it because essentially you're putting all your thoughts on on the paper, and it's kind of like it flows. So I guess it works out both ways. It's not like completely random.
The best things in the world are completely random. That was amazing. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting research and paperwork, and this is the optimal optimization of ideas. My dad had a URL laying around. It was not what I was expecting you to say. So that's hilarious and awesome.
Yeah, yeah. But that's it. Thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to present here today, and it was so nice meeting you guys.
Well, it was a pleasure. I put thoughtlane.com out on our YouTube feed for
Oh,
people to, I hope that
okay.
gives you an uptick.
Yeah,
I also chatted you my email. If there's any way
me
I
too.
can help you, I would love to be part of your story. Um,
Are
so
you like, what's your background?
I haven't introduced myself. I'm Jim Bruner. I live in Columbus, Ohio.
Mhm.
And I have three backgrounds. I have a degree in industrial design, I have a degree in computer science, and I have a degree in programming. And I run a urban farm in the middle of downtown Columbus that is based on Amish principles for sustainability, which is why that
Yeah.
UN SDG presentation before really got my interest. But all Amish-based farming, but entirely done with robotics, and
Mm.
engineering and automation. So I use a lot of AI, so I'm familiar with AI. But my goal is to give kids human skills,
Mhm.
farming skills, and technical skills to make the world a better place. And it
Mm.
sounds like you could make some interesting um, inroads into that kind of education, integrating those human skills, social skills, and educational skills in one unique platform, Thoughtlane, which is really intriguing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can for sure reach out to you and then, yeah, can go on from there.
Jim, I have invited her in the when we first connected a few weeks ago to speak at the Alliance as well. So I think that might be one of our next steps too, because that room is a room full of educators or people in the education industry, and I think they'd be very interested. And
I
Jim's
know.
a
There,
member of the Alliance as well, so
oh,
he would
okay.
be there too.
What's the alliance called?
The Innovation World Alliance, if you go back and look at your LinkedIn chats with me, we talked
Oh,
about it, but
yes.
you were going to do this first. So I think I
Mhm.
probably sent you a little bit of information, but you can connect with me again on LinkedIn.
Oh, yes. Okay.
We meet
Yeah.
the
And
first
then,
Thursday of every
mhm.
month at 5 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
So
So I could
we could book a
definitely,
time for you to come chat with the group and share.
that'd be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
your
right.
polish is fabulous. So I think the educators would really love to hear your pitch and give you feedback on what they see because you need
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And thanks for spending the extra time with us. Our next presenter did not show up, and so you
Okay.
benefited from their time as well.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you so much. And I will definitely book that meeting for the Thursday Alliance
All
thing.
right. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
I
thank
want to hear
you.
how your pitch changes from here to then because that's how world class I think you are. I can see you integrating Ananya and my questions into that new pitch, and I want to see how graciously and effectively you do that.
Thank you. Thank you. It
I'm
was
a
nice
fan.
meeting you guys.